Then, allow me to make the following communication. Now, Honorable Senators, at the sitting of the Senate held on Wednesday, the 9th of October 2024, Senator Fatuma Dulo brought it to the attention of this House that the Governor of Isiolo, Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, had on several occasions failed to appear before various committees of the Senate in response to either an invitation to appear or summons. Indeed, the following instances serve as an illustration of the instances where the Governor, without justifiable reason, has failed to appear. A. Invitation by the County Public Accounts Committee, where the Governor had been invited severally but had declined to appear, thus summons dated the 12th of April 2024 were issued by the committee. B. Invitation by the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare, where the Governor had been invited severally but has declined to appear, thus a summons was issued. C. Invitation by the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, where the Governor had failed to respond to committee's requests for information, and thus summons dated the 31st of July 2024 were issued by the committee. The Governor failed to appear in response to the summons, and the committee issued further summons dated the 30th of September 2024. D. Invitation by the County Public Investments and Special Funds Committee, where the Governor appeared and used demeaning language and insulted members of that particular committee. A. The Governor failed to appear before the Standing Committee on Health pursuant to summons dated 21st of May 2024. The Governor obtained conservatory orders prohibiting the Director of Public Prosecutions from implementing the resolution of the committee to have the Governor prosecuted for breach of Section 27(1)(a) of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges. F. Invitation by the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration, where the Governor has declined to appear before the committee. And finally, an invitation by the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations, where the Governor did not appear. Now, Honorable Senators, it would be prudent to consider the issues raised by Senator Dulo in the context of the law and judicial pronouncements that govern the issuance of summons by Parliament or its committees. Article 125 of the Constitution provides as follows. Either House of Parliament and any of its committees has power to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or providing information. For the purposes of Clause 1, a House of Parliament and any of its committees has the same powers as that of the High Court to do the following: to enforce the attendance of witnesses and examine them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise. B. To compel the production of documents, and C. To issue a commission or request to examine witnesses abroad. To give further effect to the powers under Article 125 of the Constitution, Section 18(1) of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act provides that Parliament or its committees may invite or summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or providing any information, paper, book, record, or document in the possession or under the control of that person, and in this respect, Parliament and its committees shall have the same powers as the High Court as specified under Article 125 of the Constitution. Further, Section 19 of the Act provides as follows. Where a witness summoned does not appear or appears but fails to satisfy the relevant House of Parliament or committee, the relevant House or committee may impose upon the witness such fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings, having regard to the witness' condition in life and all the circumstances of the case. 2. A person may pay the fine under subsection 1 to the clerk of the relevant house. And 3. Parliament or its committee may order the arrest of a person who fails to honor a summons. Additionally, Section 27(1)(a) of the Act provides that a person commits an offense where the person, having been duly summoned in terms of Section 18, fails without sufficient cause to attend at the time and place specified in the summons, or remain in attendance until excused from further attendance by the person presiding at the inquiry. Now, under Section 27(2) A person who commits an offense under subsection 1 is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 200,000 shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or both. Honorable Senators, the exercise of the powers under Article 125 of the Constitution by Parliament has been the subject of judicial consideration. For instance, in International Legal Consultants Group versus the Senate 2014 EKLR, the court held inter alia, it is not in doubt that the Senate is conferred with the powers to summon any person to appear before it to give evidence or to provide information within its constitutional and statutory mandate. The powers to summon by the committees are equivalent to those of the High Court. In the same decision, the court found that the constitutional power to summon must be respected by all public officials at all times. The court further stated that summons should be a remedy of the last resort after attempts, consultation, or mediation have failed, and where it is clear that a county governor and all county officials have declined an invitation by the Senate or its committees to answer to matters oversight of county funds. Honorable Senators, from the foregoing, we may observe that Article 125 of the Constitution, as read together with Section 18(1) of the Powers and Privileges Act, Parliament and its committees have the power to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or any information. In this respect, Parliament has the same powers as the High Court to enforce the attendance of witnesses and examine them on oath, affirmation, or otherwise. Although the courts have held that the power to summon under Article 125 of the Constitution should not be exercised in an arbitrary or capricious manner and should be preceded by attempts at consultation and mediation, it is clear that the various committees of the Senate have made several attempts to invite the governor to appear before issuing the summons. In both instances, the governor has failed to appear in a clear disregard of the Senate's power under the Constitution. This conduct with the governor not only undermines the rule of law, but obstructs the Senate from discharging its role as a protector of counties under Article 96(1) of the Constitution and the primary organ of oversight on the use of public funds by county governments under Article 96(3) of the Constitution. This is not acceptable. It cannot be allowed to continue. Honorable Senators, in light of this, I therefore guide all committees which had issued summons to the governor of Isiolo to appear, and in which the governor failed to appear, to liaise with the Inspector of Police as a matter of urgency and require the Inspector General of Police to produce the governor before the respective committees at a determined date and time. This is not a favor. This is not a favor that the Senate or its committees are asking of the Inspector General of Police. The defiance displayed by the governor of Isiolo in respect to invitations and summons of the Senate cannot persist. The Inspector General of Police must, in exercise of his mandate pursuant to Article 245(2)(b) of the Constitution, extend the necessary support to the committees in order to secure the appearance of the governor. It is also expected that if recourse to the courts becomes necessary, such action will robustly be pursued in courts as well. It is also open to the Honorable Senator for Isiolo, and indeed any other senator, to use the legislative mechanisms available and our standing orders, including a censure motion, to deal with the errant conduct of the governor of Isiolo. I thank you. Well, allow limited comments on this communication, starting with Senator Olekina.
Mr. Speaker, let me first of all acknowledge the good work that Senator Dulo has been doing for the people of Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, if it wasn't for her diligence in ensuring that those people get their services, those hospitals are open, which are now shut, that the people get services, we would not be discussing this matter. This is unprecedented, Mr. Speaker. This is the first time that your chair has actually almost censured a sitting governor. This House protects devolution. This House, the framers of the Constitution, gave it powers to be able to ensure accountability, a fiduciary responsibility on those who are given that responsibility by the citizens. Mr. Speaker, I sit in the Public Accounts Investment Committee, and it is quite sad because our job is very simple: to ensure that we take these governors to task and ensuring that they use the resources wisely. I've listened to your communication, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I don't intend to vary your communication. It's well thought out, but I think we've got the powers in this House. Article 125, our Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Section 19 and 18, gives us that power. We have penalized this, or we have fined this governor, I think twice now. That's $1 million shillings. We want to know whether that person, whether he has paid that to the clerk of the House. Mr. Speaker, we have a police station which is domiciled in the presence of Parliament. Why can't we authorize that? I know the law does not allow us to direct the Inspector General of Police, but I believe that the powers given to us by the Constitution, Article 125, where when we sit like a high court, we can be able to compel that witness to appear. Mr. Speaker, in the last Parliament, we worked closely with the Ministry of Finance, and we were able to stop certain funds from going to a particular county. I think, Mr. Speaker, with your position and the powers given to this House, we can be able to take the same direction. I think Article 255, or is it 225, lays out the procedure on which the Cabinet Secretary can stop funds. But this time around, we have got to think out of the box. We've got to be unorthodox in our thinking in order to be able to defend devolution. We have to find a way to stop those funds, and whoever is protecting this individual, because he boasts around and he says the way is untouchable, must also take judicial notice that in this country, in this Senate, we will demand accountability. The only way, Mr. Speaker, that we can be able to ensure the people of Isiolo gets their services is if we all suspend any other discussion today, any other business, and we deal with this matter. We can censure that governor, even if he's not sitting here. Mr. Speaker, we talk about separation of powers between the three arms of government. I believe, with the spirit of cooperation, that we can be able to engage these other two arms of government, the executive and the judiciary, to be able to come up with a methodology in which we can be able to demand that this individual is brought to this House, this individual is penalized, and the people of Isiolo can be able to get their services. Yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I was watching a video of a young lady in Isiolo who was taken to the hospital. She was in ICU for 25 days. And she had to be told, go home, because the hospital is closed. Seriously? We can sit here as senators and allow devolution to die? Allow people to be able to thumb chest and say that they are untouchable? I think it's about time that we remind these governors that power is transient. Today you are so powerful, tomorrow you are nothing. You know, literally nothing. Mr. Speaker, to use a Swahili word, hii ni dhuluma. You know, this guy is really, I don't even know what to say. You know, he's so drunk with power, he's humiliating his citizens. He was not elected to be able to go there and make people suffer. We must remind these people that power is transient. And this Senate is powerful. We've been reminded so many days that we are powerful. We're going to be sitting here tomorrow discussing the issue of impeachment of a deputy president. And you still say that we don't have power? Mr. Speaker, let us use this police station, which is domiciled in Parliament. We should not just see police here sitting, you know, trying to protect Parliament, the only way you can be able to protect devolution is by making sure that you call these people to account. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to request the Inspector General of Police, who I believe is a fine gentleman, who I believe is someone who is committed to ensure that there is discipline in this country, to expeditiously, go and make sure that that governor is taken to jail. Because you cannot violate Section 19 of the Public or the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act. You cannot violate summons from this Senate and you continue there. And yet this is the same Senate which is fighting for you to get money. Seriously. That is completely ludicrous. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that everyone here today, let us not talk about anything else. Let us censure this person and make sure that we use all the powers that we have to make sure that the people of Isiolo get what is rightfully theirs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.